Hi friends, I'm back in my void deck, and today I just like to share about how God is able to turn our mess into a message and a test into a testimony. So I really like this Bible character. Her name is Rahab and she can be found in the book of Joshua. She's actually a prostitute and she's a Gentile, so she's basically not the people of Israel lah. And before the fall of Jericho, Joshua actually sent 2 spies to spy around the city of Jericho, and at the same time, the king of Jericho also told Rahab the prostitute that if you spot any like men coming like as spies, do capture them and do bring them out of the house. That was what was instructed to her. And during at that point of time, the city of Jericho was super corrupted. It was full of sin, full of wickedness, and how the people, they offered sacrifices, like they sacrificed babies, they practiced weird rituals, etc. And so she was probably part of it as well because she grew up in such an environment. So after that, right, when the spies, they went around the city of Jericho, they were found by some officials, so they quickly hid at Rahab's house. And this was not a coincidence. God used Rahab to protect the spies. So when the officials came to Rahab's house, they asked Rahab to surrender those spies lah, and to bring them out. But Rahab diverted their attention and told the officials that the spies went to other place. But actually she hid them at the rooftop. What she did could literally land her into like a death sentence, or they could have killed her lah, but she still did it anyways. Why did she did that? Because at that point of time, the people in Jericho, and she included, they actually heard about how God of Israel, how God used Moses to deliver the Israelites out of Egypt. So when Moses raised his staff, God parted the Red Sea, and about 2 million plus people actually crossed the Red Sea, and all those Israelites, they managed to escape the wrath of the Egyptian army. So that was something very miraculous lah, because like I can't imagine it divided, and then the Egyptian army, they just like cannot lah, they managed to catch up with the people of Israel, and how they were swept by the crashing of sea. So of course that aroused curiosity amongst them. Rahab actually said how this God that the Israelites worship is the God of the heavens above and the earth below. So itself was a declaration of her faith and how much she trusted that this God is the real God. That little faith alone shows how much she desires to know this God of Israel, and that faith assured her security and protection. So when Joshua and the Israelites, they actually conquered the wall of Jericho, everything else was destroyed except Rahab and her family. So you can imagine how Rahab actually placed her life on the lifeline, and wow, it's really crazy because like, can you imagine if the officials, if the king of Jericho found out that she actually hid the Israelite spies and she didn't actually support her own people? I think she would have been killed or like be sentenced to death. So that step of faith really brought her to God's purpose lah, and how she was part of this plan. As we can trace the history, she was actually the great grandmother of King David, the greatest king of Israel and a man after God's own heart, and how she was actually part of Jesus's lineage. It's like a shining example of how God uses the imperfect people, how God uses me and you, how God uses the sinful people, how God uses the wicked, how God uses the hopeless, the depressed, those who are suffering for His glory, and how God uses the people who are despised in the society for His glory and for His great purpose. He did not use someone who was rich, He did not use someone who was educated, He did not use someone who had a high reputation, had a good status in the society. He did not. He just used ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things for Him. And it also says in the Bible how God did not send His Son Jesus to die for the righteous or for the holy, but He came to die for us sinners. He came to die for those who need, and He came to this world not to judge us, but to save us, to have a relationship back to Him. That through His death and resurrection, now we are able to experience life and abundance. That now we are made holy and righteous in His eyes. That it doesn't matter if you come from a background like Rahab's, or feel like you're not deserving of His love, or you feel that you're not worthy, because all of us aren't worthy of His love, but because of how much He loves us, He's able to redeem us no matter our past. It doesn't matter where we come from. God is able to use Rahab, and He's also able to use us. And how if you realize you're all the Bible characters in the people, we are all like, they're all damn screwed up, and we are all very screwed up also, but God uses people like them. God uses people like us. Question is, are we willing to give our life to God? Are we willing to surrender our brokenness, the little that we have, for Him to use for His glory, for His greatness in our lives? For the God that we worship is the God of Romans 8:28. He turns all things for good for those who love Him and is called according to His purpose. And that is really so amazing, and that is God's love and plan for us. So you're dearly loved. I hope you're having a wonderful day ahead. Okay, bye bye.